they can stand up for whatever is coming their way. There are thousands, according to estimates, there are thousands of casualties, mostly from civilian population. This is because we believe that the jihadis can kill at will all the infidels they can see in their way. There has been a lot of build-up throughout the years for this, but what we can see right now after the carnage is starting to settle down is a complete and, I would argue, irreversible breakdown of trust between the Alawite community and the caretaker government in Damascus. So much so that the Syrians, who are currently very unhappy with the Russians because they feel that they had let them down 3 months ago, thousands of them have taken refuge in Hmeimim air base, and they are refusing to get out. It just shows this sort of lack of confidence that there is. What we see in terms of the massacre that has taken place is that this is leading to instability running away in Syria. This is not about the coastal area. This is not about 4 million people of the Alawite community spread all across Syria. This is more about the entire Syria, because everybody now lives basically in fear, including the Sunni communities in Damascus, Aleppo, who had stood against, for the past 14 years, stood against these rebellious elements and jihadi elements. But they simply cannot raise their voice, otherwise they feel similar retribution to what happened in the coastal area. Now, we think that the current caretaker government isn't able to extend a hand after what happened. And we think verification, international verification, needs to be carried out, because all that we can see is, pushing the rubble under the carpet. That's what we see. And in terms of extending a hand to the current caretaker government foreign minister by Brussels, he's going to visit on Monday, apparently. It's the least one could say is that the least tactful sort of gesture from the European Union. We understand that the European Union current state of mind is that as long as there is stability in Syria and we lift the sanctions, then the community can rebuild itself, and then the immigrants or the refugees could go back. But the way I see it, and my team sees it, is that basically instability is going to grow on and on. And one reason isn't only because jihadis are killing infidels, it's because hundreds of thousands of Alawites have been discharged since the fall of the regime from their jobs. And we're talking about people with no food, no livelihood whatsoever. And whatever happened on Thursday the 6th of March, last Thursday, taking up arms against HTS, I feel it's going to happen again, probably in other communities as well, because the caretaker government isn't that efficient. Going back to Europe, if I may add, I worked for the European Commission's project in Syria to support small and medium enterprises in 2001 and 2002. At the time, the budget for the entire project was about 40 million euros spread over 4 years. It was a tiny budget, but it was part of the bigger MEDA program. Europe at the time had a vision to develop the southern Mediterranean, develop shorter supply chain routes, and the better the economic stability in the South Mediterranean, the less immigration they would have, and the better market for their goods as well. In came the 2003 hurricane of Iraq that swept away everything, and since then people on either side of the Mediterranean have been paying dearly. For a comparison, Germany paid about 30 billion euros in 2003, the German Federation, on issues relating to immigration and asylum. 30 billion euros. I just wonder what a fraction of that would have done to the Syrian economy. And help prevent all this carnage that we see now. I implore upon you, I ask you dearly to call your colleagues in the parties in Brussels and tell them to reconsider extending a hand to the current Foreign Minister of Syria, at least until the bloodshed has been swept away from the streets. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much for your statement. We also have a reporter